What's the worry here, Nick? You've lost some of your talent as an actor?
No.
So basically, the story here is that Nick Cage is down on his luck. His acting career isn't really going anywhere. He's losing roles. His family doesn't really respect him because he's incredibly selfish. And then one day he gets an offer for $1 million to come to a reclusive billionaire's house for his birthday party. And the billionaire wants to pitch him a script idea so that Nicolas Cage can be in a movie about that he wrote, I mean. And that's essentially the story. There's some twists and turns it takes, like the FBI or the CIA or whoever getting involved, thinking that the character Javi, I think is his name, played by Pedro Pascal.
I am Javi.
Kidnapped some politician's daughter, and they think that he is responsible for it, so they try to enlist Nicolas Cage to find out what's going on. Meanwhile, of course, Nick Cage and Javi become friends, yada, yada, yada. We've heard this story before. It's a pretty generic story. So, to spruce it up, you want to have good characters. You know, good characters or a really energetic script that keeps things moving, introduces crazy situations. Oh no, we're driving off a cliff, we're gonna have to jump out, it explodes, we're falling in the water, there's a boat coming to get us, oh, we gotta race away. It's like Mission Impossible, you know, Mission Impossible does that well. It's all of their stories are generic, all their characters are generic, but they're so fast-paced and energetic that it works.
What? Hit the brakes, you will hit the back of the truck. That won't work. Yes, it will, yes, it will. Just do it, do it, do it, do it.
You've got Javi, who is a man who wants to write a script. I have a script for you, Nicolas Cage. You must read my script and be in the movie with me. It is going to be such a great movie. And not that interesting of a character. He just loves Nick Cage, and that's his character. He loves Nick Cage. Okay. So what else is there to him? He likes a girl as well, and he has to stand up to his cousin. So what? And then there's Nick Cage, who is Nick Cage, and he's down on his luck. I want to get an acting job so bad. When will I get an acting job? My family. Watch this movie. I love family. Don't you love it? I love it. I'm going to keep talking about myself. Not super interesting. This movie is kind of ridiculous. I mean, again, it's about two guys that are writing a script that just so happens to be the script for the movie, more or less. Nick Cage is like, I love Javi, and we're gonna write a script, and this script's gonna be about our lives, and it's an adult drama, and it's essentially the movie. And it's kind of a cute little touch there.
What is your favorite movie? That's one of those questions that's impossible to answer. You can't just limit it to one.
Imagine me and you. I do.
Is it too much? Is this supposed to be me? It's grotesque. I'll give you 20,000 for it.
And in that way, it feels very safe. This whole movie feels very, very safe, especially for an R rating. It's rated R almost exclusively for swearing. Nick Cage just swears all the time. Fuck! You know, and the rest of it is really tame. There's some, like, gunfights in this that are completely bloodless. There's one where a guy has, like, a gun on Nicolas Cage's family, and he's like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to shoot you through the skull and blow your brains out of all over the windshield, and it's going to make a huge mess, and I'm going to like it. And then he gets shot, and I really expected it to, like, blow apart his skull or something, and then launch the skull fragments and the blood and the guts all over the family, so you'd have that yuck moment where, like, oh, ooh, he got the blood and guts on me. And Nick Cage comes around and is like, oh, you got blood and guts on you. But no, he just, like, is holding it, and then he gets shot, and then falls over, and there's no blood. He just falls over. You need to at least execute this kind of dry story with dry characters in an interesting way. Have some flair. Have some style, you know? Have that camera flip around and go crazy. Have the colors really pop, or make it black and white. Have some gimmick. Have some style. But the majority of the movie is just, like, lockdown shot, reverse shot. It's like the most bland looking movie that you could possibly do. There's mild shots here that move around in interesting ways, but the majority of the movie really is just really bland cinematography. It doesn't look great. Sometimes it looks oversaturated in a way that's kind of ugly. It's just very yellow as well. The whole movie is just kind of dry, is what I'm realizing talking. There's one sequence that I thought was legitimate fun, and that's when Nick Cage and Javi drop acid. Javi comes up to him and he's like, we need to get in the headspace to write this script. Let's open our minds. And Nicolas Cage is like, oh, well, why not? And he takes it, and they drive around, and they're like pitching ideas for the script that are really vague. And then they go into town, and they think that people are watching them, and they start freaking out. That's a fun sequence. I really enjoyed that sequence. Obviously, again, nothing I haven't seen before. Many, many movies have had drug sequences very similar to this, but it's the one moment in this that I feel like takes advantage of the premise of Nicolas Cage and Javi kind of writing a script that's about the movie. So they're like, well, what if we make this a psychological thriller? And Javi's like, oh yeah, maybe those two guys are looking at us. And he looks and he's like, they were looking at us. And they start to freak themselves out. That's nice. I like it.
Can I just call my family quickly? Tell them I love them.
What? There's no need to call them. We are here.
Dad, Nick, are you okay? What the hell is going on?
Most of this movie, things just don't go anywhere. There's this deepfake young version of Nick Cage that keeps coming to Nick Cage like a devil on the shoulder, and that goes literally nowhere. He has 3 scenes. One where he shows up in a car with Nick Cage and it's like, this part is going to be so awesome. You're going to be back in the saddle. And then the second scene is in a bar, and he shows up and he's like, you can't take small independent dramas, Nick. You're a movie star. And then he kisses Nick. The 2 Nicks kiss each other, and everybody in the theater laughed, and I was like, was there a joke? I didn't catch a joke there. And the third scene is Nick Cage goes into his own brain, and he sits on like this stool, and the guy's like, oh, and he like kicks him. You can't do this, Nick Cage. You're out of your league. We got to go back to acting. And Nick Cage is like, when have you ever helped me? And then the scene ends. So I guess that was the payoff, is that Nick Cage says, you've never helped me. But he doesn't, you need that moment where he's like, go away. Like, I mean, this is, again, tried and true territory. It happens in Lord of the Rings with Gollum.
Leave now and never come back. Leave now and never come back.
But you need something like that, where the audience can register the fact that he is getting over that. And they don't have it. He just says, when have you helped me? And then that scene ends. And then you never see him again. So, okay. If this movie feels like it just has a bunch of scenes missing. And because the story sometimes is really incoherent as well. Where Nicolas Cage and Javi are starting this script, and then he's like, oh, Javi, what if we, like, put kidnapping in the story? Because the CIA is asking him to try to reveal information about the kidnapping, and they think that bringing it up would lead to Javi revealing something, and Javi freaks out and is like, you are lying to me! Ah!
Don't lie to me!
And then the next scene, Javi's like, I brought your family in because you were bringing up kidnapping, and your daughter, your relationship with your daughter is not good, and your mom, or your wife is not good. You need to reconcile it right now. And I was like, so Javi brought Nicolas Cage's family to his house. How did he know who they were, where they were, or if they would accept an invitation? He did it without Nicolas Cage even knowing about it, so why would they want to go? Nobody on Earth would see, like, plane tickets show up and be like, oh, these are real. No. Like, okay, let me go to the mail. Oh, plane tickets. Oh, yeah, it's like a credit card scam. Zoop! And in the trash. Okay, look, hey, daughter, you see these plane tickets to this other country? You think they're real? No, they're not. I don't know, like, there's no scene to fill in that gap. They're just there now. because the script needs him to reconcile with his family, even though he doesn't do it. The script forces it on him. I hate when scripts force things on characters. Like, okay, he needs to, you know, make his relationship better with his family, but he doesn't take active steps to do that. Javi brings them in. Javi forces him to say, I'm sorry, and then when he says, oh, I'm sorry, they don't buy it, of course, and then his daughter gets kidnapped, and then he goes and saves his daughter, and then they're just like best friends at the end. Okay? I mean, if I was in that situation and I hated my dad or my mom, and then I got kidnapped and they saved me, I'd be like, wow, I'm very thankful for you guys. This was a really crazy experience for me. Thanks for saving me. Yeah, we still have problems though. You know, you weren't there for me, you're selfish, you know, you don't talk to me, you are constantly belittling me. Yeah, I'm just gonna move away now.
That you've left me no choice.
Are you dying, Dad?
Yes,
Oh my God.
What?
creatively.
Oh, come on.
No, physically he is tremendous. I mean, he will probably outlive us all.
So you're not even sick?
And that's how I feel about this script overall. It's like, it knows the beats it needs to have, but it doesn't connect those beats with characters making choices or story beats actively, like, stitching them together. Nick Cage isn't an active character in this. He's being forced along in every possible way. The CIA is forcing him to try and find information about the kidnapping. Javi's trying to force him to help his family. He is forced to go to Javi's birthday because he doesn't have acting jobs and he's low on money. Everything just feels like he's being forced into things. He's not making decisions. And obviously you can have a character early on that's being forced to do things because they don't want to do it. Oh, okay, oh fine, I'll do it. I'll go to this birthday party and get $1 million. That's fine, but then eventually he has to take matters into his own hands and realize that he needs to be better, and that doesn't really happen. I mean, at one point when he's going to save his daughter, he's like, I want to go save her because she should know that I fought for her. It's like, yeah, or else she would die. I don't know. It's just not my type of movie, I guess. I'd probably give it a solid 5. It's not bad, even though I've been kind of ragging on it. It's just, like I said, they know they're going through the motions and they know the beats they need to have. It's just the meat isn't there. They have all the things you should, but the meat isn't there. You got the little potatoes, you got green beans, you got maybe a little piece of chicken, but there's no seasoning on anything. And the potatoes are dry and they don't have gravy. There's no butter in it, so it's not even fluffy. The green beans were just like thrown on a plate. They weren't done anything with. They're just there. Like it'll fill you up, I guess, but there's no flavor. This is an elaborate metaphor for this stupid movie. That's it. Bye.